Yes, and welcome to the Peace Love Nation podcast. I'm your host, Erez, and on today's episode, we'll explore the incredible explosion of love for professional sports that we're seeing around the world in both men's divisions and women's divisions. On today's episode, we have a very special guest with us, and his focus is around the sport of tennis. Tennis has grown like 26% over the past 5 years, and these kinds of guys, these top-ranked players that you're seeing performing, they're creating this whole new approach. It's like a holistic approach for both on the court and off the court mastery, meaning they have to find this balance of living. And we're going to explore that because to win in today's landscape, these athletes have to combine extreme fitness with mental fortitude and strategic adaptability. And in order to achieve this sort of level of consistent performance, it's not so easy. And of course, they've spent their whole life getting to that point. It's got to be incredibly stressful. How do you keep the love of the game in your heart going? And how do you find peace while you're in the game and out of the game? And so we're here with a gentleman today. His name is Gabriel Matteazzi.
Yeah.
I never asked you how to pronounce it. Matteazzi. I want to make sure I do it properly.
Yes.
So thank you and welcome to the Peace Love Nation. So I'm going to give a bit of your background, which is quite impressive. It's quite long, so I'm going to read a little bit.
Make it simple.
Right. So you were born in Buenos Aires, Argentina. You've worked your whole career as a seasoned professional tennis coach and worked with many players of all levels, from beginners to college to top-ranked players in the world in both men and women's competitive sports.
Yep.
And you famously worked with Gabriel Sabatini, ranked number 3 in the world, Juan Martín del Potro, number 3, and Mariano Puerto, number 9 in the world, as well as Horacio Zeballos, who was number 1 in the doubles, as well as top college players. I believe his name is Sebastian Losavio, who won the NCAA.
Yes, everything here. Yes.
So you have quite the experience when it comes to getting people to where they need to go in tennis, and we want to explore that with you. So, with that out of the way, I want to ask you, where did your love for tennis come from?
Well, what brought me into tennis was many things, because not two different people get in for the same reasons, right? And what gets you into loving something, I think, is repeating that something and getting to master it. I think that's a big plus, or that's a big motivation. Sometimes the reason you are driven are completely different. Some people is forced into it. Many people get driven into a sport because they want to use it as a passport to get out of a nation sometimes that is disrupted, or things like that. Some others because they just love to do it. So the reason you get in could be completely different. The other part is, what do you make with it? See what I mean, right? Are you really going to become passionate about it? And there is one thing about tennis. Everybody does it. Everybody plays tennis in this planet. So if you want to succeed, it's not going to be enough with, I like it. You got to really love it. See what I mean, right? Because otherwise you will get stuck somewhere along the road because there is too much competition. So the reasons that drive you could be not as transcendent as the reasons that make you stay on it. Because the short journey here, it will make you a good tennis player. How many of them are in the planet? A few 100 million of very good tennis players. So a few 100 million, right? It's not like other activities where only probably a few thousand people in the world does them. Here is lots of people. So if you're going to go through that first barrier, you better love it. Now, you're going to have to put a lot of work. So if it's work, then it's not going to work. See what I mean, right? If it's, It needs to be perceived as something you want to do. Because otherwise you will be questioning yourself 100 million times about, why am I doing this? Of course, the long journey has a lot of failure, a whole lot of failure. So to overcome that, you really we want to be passionate about what you do. That's the only thing that can drive you, I think. So at the end of the day, everybody who succeeded, at the end of the day, it was because they really love this. I mean, it's very rare. I've seen a few cases of people who succeeded and they didn't quite truly love it, but it doesn't get you anywhere. You just get a little success. It's a spark that doesn't ignite any fire, but you can see a spark. And sometimes people can remember a spark as something big, but then it's just a spark. See what I mean, right? But for this to become something really, you need to truly love that.
And that's giving everything you have, right?
Yeah, because
Everything
you will
you
have
have.
to give away so much in order to achieve that you will be questioning yourself about, why am I doing this? Why am I giving away this and this and that? They will tell you, everybody knows the stories about the athletes when they talk about what they had to give away. But every each one of them I know personally, I'll tell you the truth. They didn't have to give away anything. They didn't. At the moment, it looked like the natural choice. They really wanted to do it. And I don't think you're giving away too much when you want to do something. It's like, yes, you are giving away something, but you would hate to give away the other part even more than this one. It's kind of like you always make those little choices, right? Now, when you look back, you forget. When you look back, you forget what drove you at the moment, right? So you could be saying, well, all the other kids did this as I was doing that, right? They were on vacations as I was playing tournaments. But the bottom line is, at the moment you made that decision, and normally, and many cases, those decisions are made by someone else. That literally is what destroys the athlete. When
Right,
somebody else
parent
make
or
a
the-
decision, parents, environment, or anything else that makes that decision for them, right? Because it can take you, again, you can always spark, but it's very short-lived. See what I mean? Right? Very, very short-lived.
Right.
And
There's no greater reason
right.
than you being able to just decide that this is what you want to devote your life to.
Right. And then the second part is that the biggest impact in this game is what you express through it, not what you achieve. I mean, I know players that got little victories that everyone remembers. And I know a lot of players that got a lot of victories and nobody even know who they are. So the whole thing is not so much about what you do, but are you going to be remembered? And that could be a moment. I know people who made everybody live a moment that was unforgettable, and then everybody remembers. And it's a little bit relative, right? Because and I think that's what is the weird part, because today this is not exactly what drives this world. We're driven by numbers, we're driven by stats, and it's all very logical, and it's all, and we could say, factual.
Right, like performance stats and these kinds of things
you're
rely
right.
heavily on that, especially at the top level.
As a documented fact, is beautiful, but the reality is it accomplishes nothing. It doesn't drive people, and there are other things that drive people and make people make changes. I mean, what influenced me a lot in this game were things that I saw that were quite transcendent to most. Many don't know, but those moments were interesting, and every player has that. They will tell you, I loved when I played this tournament and I was 12 years old. And you're like, where would that be? I mean, I don't even know what he's talking about, right?
Right,
But it is what it means to you.
right.
So when it comes to achievements, it's very, very strange how this works. I mean, the same happens today with communication. If that happens at a moment that player can reach a lot of people, then that is very special. Many times it happens and it doesn't reach a lot of people. So it was very transcendent, but nobody cared about it at the moment because they couldn't care about it because they didn't know that this happened. See what I mean, right? So I know things that are influence some people, and again, doesn't build as big a spark as others that ignite very big things.
So in your opinion, what is the single most beautiful or challenging thing that you think in the game that you believe that certain players should appreciate more of?
I think it's a game that involves so many different parts that everybody has a different interpretation, so it's closer to what art is. And that's the funny part with tennis, that is so far from the fact of performance and what's documented. You can get to victory in many different ways. You can get to a victory. I mean, evidently, you need to have a little bit of everything. But how it all comes together, that's what creates the outcome. Pretty much it's like tennis history. Very little things turned around humankind, and they were about little details, not about. I mean, if you read the facts, it doesn't make sense that that was so important and transcendent. Mm-hmm. But then when you read, pay attention, and the same happens with tennis matches, tennis players, and that's why I think there is a lot of people that is misled.
Even the viewers, I think, they don't realize. I think there's only sport that has mixed doubles, like men playing with women. It's
so many variables
beyond any other sport. Yeah. Right.
And so much to exploit about the sport. And if in a personal opinion, I think they're not even going to the deepest and best, I would say, representation of the sport. Because as you said, there are more options to show people. Today, it's a little bit related to the space that it can have in the business of tennis, right? I mean, we all understand that a business is a business, and we all understand that that requires limitations. But I think tennis is quite limited these days. I mean, it could be even better in a sense, right?
How?
There are starting by what you said, there are so many different options. Like, I think that doubles is not given the space it should have. But that's only because something had to take the position of the time filler of the singles, and it became like doubles was that for a moment, right? Mm-hmm. Or mixed doubles was not even given attention until last year, for instance, at the US Open, they gave it attention and they realized that it drove more people than the singles somehow. And I don't know, in these times of equality, gender equality, nobody cares about mixed doubles. It's quite interesting, right? I mean, it's something that could come up, but since nobody does it, then nobody does it.
Also in women's tennis too. I mean, I noticed that the difference, in audience participation when you're in a women's match compared to a men's match. I mean, not as many people come to watch, which is kind of interesting because women can perform at just as great level.
I think I was always exactly agreeing with that. And I think the problem is that, I mean, pretty much women killed it because they wanted to make it so much about performance that they compare themselves with men when there is no comparison to make.
Right.
I mean, the women's game is completely different. It's absolutely passionating. I mean, it's really interesting. Other factors get in because they're very different emotionally. So basically, it becomes more of a thrill, more of a roller coaster. That, to me, for the spectator, should be something fantastic. But they're not exploiting that because then we read the stats and they say, oh, they're serving 20% below the speed of the men. And I'm like, can we fire that person, please? Now? Because he's taking all the attention out of something that is absolutely, I would say, attractive and making it unattractive into the eyes of people, right? And I think that's the problem. I mean, it's not factual. Nothing in life is factual, really. I mean, I believe in the facts, but the bigger, it's like judging art and saying, well, I don't know, Picasso didn't make a clean image because a camera can get a better, and I'm like, are we talking about art? Sorry, I'm a little confused here.
Right.
But they judge it from that standpoint, and you're like, yes, we were not talking about that. So I think tennis could have that reach, but I think many other things, many sports, I mean, this thing of comparing sports, so strange.
And what advice do you give to players when they're struggling in life? They have distractions. Everyone has distractions. But you're now in this competitive drive with other players. And how do you ensure that they maintain this sort of genuine level of joy and appreciation for the sport?
I think that's the hard part today. Right? That's the hard part today. And my only question is really, how much is too much? See what I mean, right? Because I think, generally speaking, is too much in general. But then how much is too much? Because then you're always like, well, but what if I fall short, right? And for the most part, I think most players are hurt by too much and not by too little in general, right? But that's so particular, and that's the other part. These are human beings.
So
Like-
reaching for too much, like expectation.
Yeah,
wise.
or trying too hard to attain a goal, and then you break the balance. And as soon as you break the balance, everything falls apart. See what I mean, right? There's a balance to maintain here. And in that balance, I think the other part is that it requires a little more of an environmental whole team and not about one person on the team. So as soon as one person on the team takes too much, normally the player is misled because the one forgotten is the player. Like, in other words, the best coaches are not star coaches. You don't want a star coach. A star coach is about himself. And that is so likely to disrupt the balance. You're putting so much risk on everything. And that's the thing. But then the companies want the big name behind it.
The branding.
Right. The companies want the big name behind it. I understand the marketing side, but you got to be careful because you're about to break the balance. See what I mean, right? That's, to me, the hard part of being a coach.
One of the players, Tiafoe, also had a problem with that too. He had a lot of branding pressure on him, but he wasn't performing as he needed to.
And Francis was exactly a clear case of how it's not convenient, but it's clearly, from a business standpoint, convenient, right? But it was definitely not convenient at the moment.
Right.
All the big contracts came at the moment he needed to find answers for his game. The reality is he was, to me, over-marketed. And at the moment, it looked like the right thing to do because America needed that. America needed a player like that. And that part is understandable. But then you got to say, hold on 1 second. Is he ready to take the weight you're about to put on his shoulders? Because he's going to be judged for that. You are selling him for being a steady bet. And at the exact moment in time, there are a few things that are not so steady. If one of them falls apart, people will perceive him as a failure when he's not. He needed time to develop a few things, right? But then the interests. See what I mean, right? They needed that. And it came crazy because all the big contracts came at the moment he was having those hiccups.
Right.
And people is catching, putting the attention. He's catching the attention of people. People is putting the attention. At the moment the attention comes in, he's failing. This is terrible.
It's tough.
Nobody ever looked at you. Now you are the right thing to watch. Everybody agrees. And now they put their eyes on you. Nothing happens. And this game is kind of cruel because in other things that are not performance-oriented, you can fake it.
Mm-hmm.
But here there is somebody else who also wants to take it, so you won't fake too much. It just falls apart. It's a meritocracy.
And then you have players like Sinner and Djokovic and Alcaraz who are at the top of the top. You can't even think you even can get there. And how do they blow past all that? How do they keep at that level?
Well, to me, that was the thing. For instance, if you watch Sinner, the best part of Sinner is how they handled hiding him. He wanted to be hiding. He still wants. It's hard to hide when you have his records, right? But he still wants to stay in the shades, right?
Right.
And how well that was done. The guy was, when people got to know him, he already had about 3 times the achievements of a Tiafoe or 10 times. So, and then they got to know him. So it's harder. Yes, you're receiving the pressure, but you can still go 30% below your level and maintain that properly. And I think that's that underachieving that he craves for. He wants to always make it look like he's not there, and he's going to try. Every time he's talking about performance.
Right.
Like, to me, the best pitch came about a few weeks ago. And after the tournament, somebody read the stats. When these guys who interview a person on the court, the first thing they do is reading stats. These days it comes automatically. You can see them as they happen, right?
Like a show horse.
Yeah, exactly. It's clear, right? And the guy lost 4 points on his serve. You're gonna make a lot of. I mean, that's probably a 2% error, right? It was insane. And when they ask him, because he was making changes, he apologizes. He goes, "I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to work at that. I think it's gonna come right." And they say, "Are you aware that you lost 4 points in the match with the serve?" And he was fully performance oriented. He was absolutely not aware that he broke a record or anything. He was like, "Oh, okay, that's nice to hear. It's very rewarding. Thank you." Like
In other sports, they celebrate it, like right then and there. You know,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
like,
he wanted to just make no fuss about this. God forbid the next match, I have to go with this record in my bag, and it waits. So that's basically the thing. It's difficult because it's hard to keep up with an inflated reputation. See what I mean, right? It's
so you have all this pressure, you know, from the branding side, from the corporate side. You have pressure from your own performance side, from the team side. How do you find peace at the moment you need to perform? Where do you see that happening?
to me, the whole difficult thing is how to keep it simple when things get complicated. Just keep it super simple. Keep it super simple, and that's why sometimes that's costly because you have a lot of people who would like to jump on the boat, but if you do that, you are risking to get distracted and so forth, right? So it's very difficult, but you need to keep it very, very simple. And that's the hard thing to do at those moments, right? Generally speaking, I mean, and this goes for everything. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard even for a varsity athlete. He's going to be the star of the school. Who doesn't want that? You're a
Right.
teenager. Everybody looks at you in the school.
Right.
And that's terrible. See what I mean, right? So it's, yeah, I think
That's really hard.
it's very, I mean, you don't even, I mean, I think it's much easier to keep a professional athlete a little bit more focused than it is to keep a varsity athlete. He's going to go to a campus and he's going to feel every second he's a special thing. If you win something for the school, too. On the tour, it's a little bit more like you can isolate the guy a little because you have a team, you got this, you got that, you can isolate the guy a little.
And you think you need like a little bit of humbleness as well. Like, you know, you need to be humble about what you're doing. But some of these players aren't that humble.
Many of
They're
them,
almost like little kids in a
Right,
lot of ways, you know?
right. Because many of them grew up in an overdose of success at a young age, right? And then you can see that, well, it's not exactly what we're talking about, but it relates completely about their failure in real life. Everybody likes to hear the catastrophe and the fall of a top star. And it seems to be like it doesn't take much because we're talking about more than 90% of the athletes for sure, not just tennis players.
Mhm.
And I think it has to do with that addiction to success when success doesn't last on anyone. You need to learn how to disappear. So the few that are very humble and very simple, and Federer is a case. He was always super simple, always super humble. And the disappearing act was even more gracious than the appearing act.
Mm.
The guy disappeared from the tour, and I mean, and it's hard because then you got to be no one again, and it's difficult.
Get to start a new life, I guess. I'm not sure what he did afterwards, but
It's difficult, I mean, and the same with Nadal, who was another guy that is very, very humble. I mean, look at the disappearing act.
mhm.
Of course, that's what nobody talks about, but this disappearing act was phenomenal. That's what you got to admire on these people.
Yeah.
And some others can't stay out of the highlight, and then they destroy themselves. They start believing things like they are amazing at everything. If this explains the financial crashes of disproportionate magnitude that you see there. I mean,
So if success isn't the goal, what would you say the goal is?
the goal is the journey, and then when you finish, you need to find a new journey. So people who understands that the goal is a journey, then those succeed, because sports, however you look at it, are a stage of your life. See what I mean, right? And you will need to recreate yourself into something different. Like a person that is interesting is Alcaraz coach, Ferrero. He was one in the world, And today, Ferrero disappeared. He is Alcaraz's coach. And I never heard him talking about his own personal career one single time, which is really turning into a coach. You are in the shadows. If you show up, you failed. See what I mean, right? But then what is being a successful coach? Well, everybody knows a successful coach is that claim to be successful and everything, and those ones that are everywhere. If you do that with your player, it's poison. What are you doing? It's just crazy.
Right.
Your role is to disappear and to appear through the player, not to eclipse the player, because if you eclipse the player, you're creating a problem for the player. See what I mean, right? So it's understanding your roles, like everything in life, right? So that's how you find peace to me. When you understand what is the role, what is your real role, and understanding and accepting it and moving with it. And that's what tennis has good to me. The big amount of failure you have is probably one of the sports you fail the most. And that's inevitable. Like in most sports, it's 50-50. You win or you lose, but you keep on playing. You don't stop playing the moment you lost the match. In tennis, when you lost the match, you lost this and the next 5 coming. It's gone. The whole thing is gone. So you're going to be forced to a lot of stops and a lot of failure.
It's a very mental game.
You see, a 128 draw, which is a Grand Slam, implies 127 losers. I mean, is that just that simple? And then when they tell you, no, but he went 3 rounds, and I'm like, nobody's happy about the last match. I can tell you that. What I learned is that you forget the first 3, and you always remember I should have gone that much. And it's always true. But there's nothing to do about it. It's just move on and learning to move on. And I think that would be good outside tennis for finding peace and love. And
yeah, I think that's a great lesson.
Moving on, right?
For a lot of people who are holding things inside,
right.
Can't let go.
No.
Especially when you have loved something for so long, and then you have to sort of transform it into something else that's going to sustain you for the rest of your life.
It's very hard to move. See, if you don't move on, the problem is that you're not moving, or even worse, you're moving in the opposite direction.
Right.
So you're stuck, and the frustration can make you move in the wrong direction too. So it's very dangerous.
Yeah, things are always changing. Don't get stuck.
Exactly. Don't get stuck. And listen, I mean, I always tell them, every time they're doing good, I'm like, listen, let's live like this didn't happen, because it's going to be gone, This is gone. You have it now, but it's gone. And you're going to lose it, and I'm going to lose it. I'm ready to move on and keep on working. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Are you ready to do that? But now I won. I got it. And it still doesn't matter. I mean, I sometimes tell them about somebody who played in the past, and I say, how about this guy? Says, who in the hell is that? That's you in a few years. You're talking about yourself in a few years. Good luck with your achievement, right? But nobody will remember. So if you understand that, and I'm like, what is the good part about it? Did you see the feeling you had when you won it? That's the good part about it. That's the journey. So that moment, treasure it. That's good.
Yeah.
The achievement is fine. I mean, yes, it financed you at the moment, and it also, but that's that. And I think that's the good part about tennis. That is as subtle and as basic as things are in life, and that's a good thing. See what I mean, right? It can't be any more humbling, the game, because it can't be any more humbling. And then the second part is that nobody can really do it for you. You got to do it yourself, right? And it's a challenge. That's the interesting part, yes.
There's a lot of mindfulness going on here in the techniques in these players, right? So what kind of things what approach do you take? Meditations, do you recommend certain things to do?
Of course, all of them are good, of course. But again, producing the moments where the player can access any information is the problem. I mean, any information you force into a person, he's probably not listening to it. So he can tell you, I've been doing meditation for 3 years, but he never wanted it, or he never was aware of what he was looking for. Somebody in the team brings meditation is good for his player. You didn't do 1 day of meditation. I mean, the guy is not willing to do it.
It's about expectation. They're
Right. It's about
expecting
what you have
some
inside. I
result.
mean, look, what I learned from Djokovic, which was is a very interesting topic, because his personality could be a little different than the average personality, right? So the guy is so passionate about learning. It's just insane. It doesn't surprise me in the minimum list. He broke all the records.
Mm.
I mean, I wish they would have showed him a little more about how he is, because if you know him closer, you know who he is. His whole thing is about passion for life.
Yeah, he's a good man. He's,
I mean,
he's
his passion
really,
for life, right?
He's sort of been painted as a
The bad guy.
bad guy, yeah, but he's not.
And he comes from a place and a country with very radical ideas that probably don't make you look very good in the eyes of people, because you are carrying a lot of things that in your luggage that are not exactly liked by people. But that's that. Everybody comes from somewhere, right?
Right.
But so I think the problem was that they're not putting the attention where they have to, which is his passion for many things. He's passionate about learning. He's passionate about improving. And the results are interesting. He overcame how many generations of tennis players now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's amazing.
Right. The latest thing I've heard about him was very interesting. He's been dealing for now probably many years about when are you going to retire,
Right.
right? And it doesn't seem logical that he keeps playing, because he's unlikely to break some records that are there. And he was so interesting, because it comes from somebody passionate. He says, "Have you heard about longevity?" And so the reporter goes, "Of course, but well, I just think I like to research, and I'm researching on myself. So you might be asking this question many times. I'm researching about longevity, and I'm doing my own experiment. So don't even ask me again about retirement, please." And he was so interesting, because I think it was, I mean, everybody was like, ha, ha, ha. And I said, I think probably it was legit.
Yeah.
He might be into that, because every time he finds one thing to motivate. So these external helps, I've seen him getting all kinds of external helps, from meditation to diet, and all of them, he wanted them. And then I see that as soon as he does it, half the players in the planet are forced into that,
Right.
and it doesn't work the same, because they don't want it.
Right.
It's not coming from them.
The mindfulness and mentalness, he really started with all the players. Like, everyone followed him because he was performing at such a level. You know, when things got really tough, he just pulled it right through and he won the game, match.
And I think that the people then looks at the outcome, 24 Grand Slams, but they don't look at the journey. This guy is a guy who recreated himself 100 million times.
Yeah.
See what I mean, right? I mean, he recreated himself from his ashes 1,000,000 times. Since I have memory, he's not going to win again. This is the last tournament he wins, because, and then back again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is pretty much the essence of sports and the good part of tennis, you know?
And life too. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Just keep on doing what you're doing, and don't do it for anyone. Do it for yourself. Try
Right.
to do it because you want it. I
Right.
mean,
You want to improve. You want to do something that elevates yourself. You can't get stuck. You can't get attached to things. You don't let things pull you back. Move forward.
Right. And if everybody did that, definitely would have a better world. You know, I mean, it creates better people in general. Unfortunately, they're emphasizing the wrong parts of it.
Mhm.
So again, keep your eyes on the prize. How much money they make. And I'm like, who even cares about that? Not that you don't care personally, but why would people have to care about how much money he's making? He's a tennis player. Well, can we talk about tennis? But he made this many millions.
Right.
Well, that's great. But I don't want to talk about that. I'm good with that. I'm not good with talking about that, because that is hurting a lot of other people. See what I mean, right? It's complicated. Can we talk only about tennis? Look how well he plays tennis. Look what he does. And that would be better. That would help tennis too, to me. The problem is a little bit where is the attention, right?
Right.
In general. So I try to pass that to my players. I mean, do this because you like it. The day you don't like it, we just don't do it anymore. It's just that simple. Right?
And you work with kids now, right? You work with young
A lot of them.
young
And it's so fun.
players.
Yeah,
Tell
and
us more about that.
Yeah, it's so fun. I mean,
where are
with
you
them,
at?
it's more interesting because a player already took his path. So you're only, what I found is that with the player, is very little what you can do. But with a kid, that changes his whole life.
Mm.
If you can, it's a very difficult time, especially adolescence years, which is where the kids start competing in tennis. They're difficult. Young people get derailed very easily. Every day we see more derailed.
But do you
on
see a
them.
big change based on kids you've taught many years ago, and now kids that are so focused on social media and distractions from the phones and these kinds of things?
And it's all that is also, yes, and it's also a lot that is in social media that doesn't let you appreciate the journey. They don't have a journey. The kids today don't have a journey. They just live other people's journeys. See what I mean, right? And those people don't even exist in their life. They exist in their phones.
Right. My kids will watch other kids playing, other kids online playing games.
And it's
that
like,
they could be playing themselves, but they
right,
watch
where
them play.
where is your role in all this, right? And then of course you have a lot. I mean, the main thing about this is that it keeps you away from natural things that we have: depression, lack of interest, but which clearly are the problem today. I don't even see the problems as in the consequences of these problems. I see them more into the real problem we have, which is a big lack of interest for everything on young people. And that lack of interest having consequences like depression or many others that then lead you to other problems. See what I mean?
Right.
Then of course you have, yes, when it comes to something bigger that happens, an accident that happens in their life that could have been avoided. But that's past gone. I mean, the problem was in the beginning. This kid was depressed since 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And now he's having this problem. Can you give him something that is fun? See what I mean, right?
Right.
I was
Because you have
born
to
in
be
a-
fun at the same time. What you're trying to get them to be excellent, but have fun at the same time, right?
I was born in a military dictatorship. It was very easy to get depressed at the moment. I never had a single problem. I don't even know. I see the movies about what happened in my country, and I'm a little confused because I quite frankly thought at the moment I was a little distracted by stupid tennis, and that was great because it kept me doing something instead of looking around and saying, "Oh my God, this is so bad." And it was fine because that's all you have in life. In life, you can get distracted by good things or by bad things, but you get distracted. See what I mean, right? You can.
Right.
This keeps you in the present, here and now, which is the only place people should be, right? They should be in the here and now and making their best decisions for here and now. Of course, look into the future and into the past when you make your decisions, but mind about now. Tennis is the same. You can tell me this player normally does this and that. And you get to be like, yes, but keep your eyes on this now because maybe he's not going to do it now. Maybe all of a sudden, for some random reason, he's not going to do it. And you're going to be able to figure it, but not if you keep your mind in the past too much. Not if you keep your mind in the goal you have in the future. Keep your eyes on right now. This is what's happening.
Are you getting the feeling that these kids are listening to what you're saying? I mean, how do you see that as a result in the end? And with the kids having issues focusing nowadays, what do you see as the future of tennis?
I see that when a kid starts understanding this, what makes me happy normally is changing in other aspects of their life. Normally, you succeed earlier at other parts of your life that are not tennis. All of a sudden, the parents come and tell me, I don't know why. He's studying less, but he's better at school. I said, well, it might be my fault. He liked tennis and he didn't study as much, but you're telling me he got better grades. Yes. So he's learning how to push himself to do things.
Mm.
See what I mean, right?
Right.
Because he was spending a lot of time in front of the books. That doesn't mean he was studying too much. And, I became a nerd practically because my dad told me, if you want to keep tennis, there's only one condition: your grades have to be up. Because he was a pilot, so when he traveled, mom couldn't be stressed about the kids doing bad in school, right? So he said, listen, I'm okay with your tennis, but grades stress your mom a lot, so please keep your grades up so I don't have to say anything but keep playing, right? And it was interesting because I didn't like to study. That was a very strange thing because I didn't have time. So I said, I need to study this and I need to study it now because otherwise I don't go to tennis. So I got myself like motivated to do it. And then I discovered it was fun. I think that's what I see with the kids, that you can always influence them in a good way. Like, keep your mind on what you're doing right now, and then we talk about it, right?
So your coaching approach is more holistic,
Probably
life
yes.
balance kind of a thing.
Yeah. I will tell you one interesting thing. When I came to America, I came from working with professional players, and in our country, that was important because you wanted to get out of the country through the sport, and that was the goal was different, right? And then I came here and I tried to do the same, and I got completely derailed in one sense. I couldn't yet, since I came to America, make one guy stay on the tour successfully from my players. They all were too successful at something else and quit tennis. So I won, but I lost in a sense, right? Not one of them continued being a professional athlete because all of them found better opportunities.
That's interesting.
And what I discovered is I always told them that everything is about leadership and you're your own leader. So if you don't know how to be your own leader, you're not a leader. And that's simple. If you're not a leader, you're not a leader. And in tennis, the only one who can lead you to victory is yourself. So I always tell them, I'm helping you to be a leader, but I'm not the leader. You are the leader. If I am the leader, I failed because you're not going to win there, right? So it was interesting because all of them became leaders in what they do. It was super interesting. I mean, first they were offered great opportunities in varsity tennis, and in all the cases, they ended up having to quit tennis because somebody offered them something at that college that was a better opportunity in their career.
Right.
Like the latest one, well, it was NASA who wanted her to do semiconductors. I had one that went to Naval Academy, and she was the first captain of the U.S. Navy as she came out. Because they were leaders. It was interesting, right?
And I'm sure on top of it, they beat everybody in the tennis matches there.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because they retired from tennis with success. They were the most successful on the team, but they were offered an opportunity you couldn't refuse.
That's success.
I mean, those were the funny moments of my life. With two of them, it was funny because they called me. The two of them were very similar, and they told me, Gabby, I don't know what to do. We made plans to play the tour after college, and they're asking me this. And I said, well, do you like what they're offering you? Well, yes, because I got into this because I liked it. Well, let's call it a good failure and move on. See what I mean, right? So I'm going to regret it a lot, but I'm going to regret a lot more if you don't keep going. See what I mean, right? This is good. And
it's not just a tennis coach, you're a life coach.
I mean, it's right. Yeah. To me, it was difficult, but because, again, at the moment, I had to let go. I said, because I had my dreams too. I saw this child growing, and in all cases, we chose college because I felt it was always a safer option. When you are into something like this, you see a lot more failures than successes. That concerned me.
Yeah.
See what I mean, right? Because then you get close to your player when you start working since they're young. I started very young with them. And then you're like, oh no, this one I'm too attached to. I don't want to see the failure here that I saw before, right? This one is different. Because in America, you can work consistently with somebody. Whereas in other countries, it's more like ups and downs. And then I discovered that maybe what I was coaching them was not tennis. It was something different, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe there are better applications than tennis. They all love tennis. They still watch tennis, and they don't regret one single bit of it.
Right. So you see that because tennis is, like you said, so many people come into it, but who really gets to the higher level? So you're using tennis as really a platform for them to achieve their real goals.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Tennis is probably one of the best platforms.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and the interesting part is that this takes a lot of pressure off the process. So it's funny because it looks like it beats the purpose, but it helps the purpose. Because 90% of what happens there when you have to really achieve is just in your mind, is the perception. You can't achieve something if you didn't let go before. I mean, I that one I'm completely sure about. I mean, once you let go of needing something or you failed, you probably can get it. And it's still not 100%. It's your best bet to get it, right? And if you try enough, you're going to end up getting it at some point.
So what do you do for peace in your life? I know that you sort of extend yourself even more. You're a journalist. You've started this website.
Well, I saw a lot of parts.
To talk about tennis and more awareness of tennis.
Yeah, I saw a lot of parts of tennis that could have some polishing. Journalism was one of them. Everybody complains about many journalists in tennis. I would say that just like 99% of them. But nobody does anything.
Because they're sensationalists. They want...
Right, because they push things in the wrong direction, right? Or because they're forced to move things. And I understand the guys. I mean, now that I've been doing it for years, I have completely understanding of the guys. So, because it's a business and like everything else, right? Mm-hmm. But yes, I did a lot of things that I said, well, why don't we do something about it? So like 30 years ago, I started with this webpage and I said, listen, I know a lot of people, coaches that are passionate about this. And I know a lot of people that don't do tennis that are passionate about this and are journalists. Can we do something different? And we put people who are passionate about it, and then we see. And it was interesting, right? Because I said, I mean, everybody comes to me with the complaints, and I'm like, I don't want to go with the complaints. It really doesn't help me. I mean, it ruins my day, and I don't want to go with it. Can we just forget for 1 minute about everything that's wrong and do something and try to do it right? And it's not going to change anything because the world is the way it is, right?
Right. Tennis is an organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's bigger than you. But
the education part, the training part, everything is sort of controlled in a way. Not much people can do anything about it, right? So you're trying to find inroads where you can.
Do your part, right? Because you're this little part of humankind. But I think that's another thing. It gives you a very interesting idea of how, in the big schemes of things, how little you are. See what I mean, right? Everybody, and how enjoy the journey because you're going to be forgotten anyhow. Right. See what I mean, right? Enjoy the journey because you're going to be forgotten anyhow. One kid told me the other day, it was very funny. They're talking about, somebody's talking about Federer, right, on the court. And I see the kids looking and like they don't know. So he laughs and he says, these kids don't know about Federer, I guess. I said, so then you're absolutely wrong. Why are you mentioning Federer to them? I said, but let me show you something. Do you know Federer? He says, I heard about his name. Isn't he the guy who sells shoes? And I said, you see, what were you talking about? So we are not perceiving that even that guy can be forgotten because this new generation doesn't have a reason to remember them. These kids are 11, 12. And when Federer retired, they were 7. And it was before the pandemic. So basically, in their conscious memory, they have no idea who this guy is.
Right.
See what I mean, right? So why don't we just focus on the moments and on what we have instead of trying to, establish something that anyhow, it's useless. And you're missing the moment, the only thing you have, in order to attain that is actually as useless as it could be, right?
Beautiful.
So that's what I learned about tennis, and that's what I try to make them understand. Like, it's about your life, it's about your career, it's about enjoying every minute that you have. That's all you get.
Do you have a book, or do you come out with a book? It sounds like you really could write a book.
I would love to one day, but that's all you have, really. I mean, do you have anything else? Because it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And you're wasting it.
Yeah.
You're wasting it because you're looking for something that maybe actually you're buying your way into failure. You are buying yourself your way into failure. You are signing it actually. In front of my own eyes. You're signing, I'm going to fail because when the opportunity comes, I'm going to be completely distracted from the goal.
Right.
That's, I think, why many champions come out of nowhere. They come out of nowhere because they were not aware at the moment. That's the problem. And then there are the ones who can keep themselves as who they were, and then the others. Right. See what I mean, right? And I mean, Ivan Lendl was a very big champion at the moment, and then one day he comes back to play the senior tour. He disappeared for years. So somebody asked him, "Hi, Ivan, hi. What have you been doing all these years?" And he says, "Oh, the best part of my life, living. Would you believe it?" He said, "Living. Would you believe it?" The guy goes,
and enjoying it.
It was right. Yeah. It was very interesting. I said, "Wow, this guy was interesting. I watched him play, but this was the best part. This was his best play I've ever seen."
Right.
That's good, because I think that's the problem with these big things. We lose a little bit perspective. Yeah. And it's difficult to succeed in something so competitive, like you said, once you lose perspective. Yeah. Once you got lost, you got lost. There is nothing else you can do. You're lost. See what I mean, right? And it's difficult to get out when you're lost. It's very, very difficult when you have a deadline like tennis. In other things, I think some things are easier because you have your full lifetime to achieve. But here you don't have, it's just a moment.
It's a phase. It's a phase of your life.
Very short phase.
You got to remember that. Everyone has phases in their life and not get so caught up, sometimes in the short-sightedness of it.
It's so strange when you hear a guy, I mean, the guys who come to me is because they're having problems. If they're having success, they don't come to a coach. You go to the doctor when you're sick, right? Right. And they go, "I'm 25. You're like, "I wish I was 25, my God." So you're like, this game is very strange. Somebody's telling me I'm 25. Like, this is the end of the universe. So getting lost is a complication.
Right.
And I think you are going to get lost anyhow, but not get too lost because you might not have time to reroute, right? It's interesting.
I think we've learned a lot here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here on The Nation.
It was a lot of fun.
Really appreciate it.
And I love the cause, and I love what you do. And I always said, I mean, people should need to do these things.
Yes, we have to be more kind to each other and help each other and find peace and love.
But I think what you do is a little similar. That's what I felt at the moment when you mentioned this to me. Because instead of talking about what's wrong, you're doing what's right. Yeah. See what I mean, right? Because we can talk about what's wrong all day. That's pretty much what everybody does. And we can talk all day. And it's super simple because there are so many bad things that you can spend your life talking about it. And you're not going to attain anything.
Well, if you look at a chart, I'm going to do an episode on this, but when you look at a chart of like your emotions, it's maybe a small sliver of that chart is positive, happy emotions. The rest of it is all negative. So we're actually fighting ourselves. It takes a challenge, it takes an effort to be positive, to be happy, to be joyful, because for the most part, it's so easy to be negative.
You can get caught there. It's easy to get caught there because it's
all day long.
It's like hitting a bullseye, right? Because all the rest is just, and it sucks you in.
Right. And you see some of these players too in tennis or wherever, but specifically in tennis, they like throw their racket. They just get so angry just because they missed a ball. I mean, it's like, some of it's genuine, but some of it's a little bit erratic as well. A
million times now that we have TV, I make them give a look at what they did. And I'm like, I don't want you to look at the racket you broke. I want to ask you, where was your mind after this? So then he goes, well, I was so pissed. Where was your mind? Somebody was trying to take you out and you helped so much your destiny. I mean, you really wanted to lose. Because instead of putting your mind on what you can do, and I'm aware, I'm with you because I know what you can do, but you never dared think positive here. You were just looking at that. That just happened. And it happens to everyone.
Everyone, any time of the day.
I tell them, just look at any other recordings. Let's go outside and watch other matches. You will see hundreds of millions of people hitting balls out and hitting frames and making mistakes. But of all things, you choose to focus on that only because it's 95% of it. Right. Can you for 1 minute think about what you are doing here? Right. So I'm like, I can forgive you for all the errors you did in the match. But it's difficult. It's going to be difficult if you don't start forgiving yourself and thinking about the 1% positive, because that's so pretty much it's exactly what you're doing. I feel that that's what you're doing. You're trying to focus on the right thing to do. Keep the rest, speak for itself.
Best we can. It's all we can do.
There's not too much more we can do, I think.
Thank you, Gabriel. Appreciate your time.
Much.
And thanks for joining us at peacelovenation.com. Come get some merch, support us. Become a member, become an ambassador, get some stuff, and spread the peace and love out to the world. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Have a great day.
Yes, 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 yes. Open,